What's up, my people? It is your boy, AMG here, and today we're going to be talking about episode 57 of Attack on Titan, or episode 20, season 3, whatever floats your boat. But anyway, we're going to be explaining what happened in this episode and things you may have missed, and then I'm going to be throwing little bits and pieces of my theories up in there because I actually don't read the manga, so I'm not entirely sure what happens in the series. And if you guys want to see my live reaction, I'm going to put it at the end of the video because for some reason YouTube did not show it up on the search bar, so you could only see my video if you're a subscriber. But anyway, guys, let's get into it. Let's get it. Now, in episode 57, we're going to start off with how the Eldians and the Marlians, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it, are in battle. Now, they're pretty much the Germans and the Jewish people, basically recreating the Holocaust to some, extent. Because we even see that the Eldians even have the armband that was the David Star in, IRL reality. So it's pretty much the same concept, except it's not exactly to that extent as we see, because it seems that they are actually able to live normal or somewhat normal lives. The Eldians have to live in a restricted area, and they can only come out of that area into the land or area of the Marlians if they have some kind of special pass. Now we see that while Grisha's going off to go see this airship, he and his sister get in kind of a little bit of trouble because they're not supposed to go past their restricted area without having a pass. Now it's either their parents get in trouble or their family gets sent to paradise, or the person who did this horrible deed goes and gets beat up. Now, Grisha picks getting beat up so he won't make trouble for his parents, and he says, "My sister didn't do anything, the blame is all on me." So he starts to get beat up by a somewhat young soldier that looks like he might be in his 20s. And then there is another soldier who is a fat guy that just seems like a regular soldier, and he takes the girl away and says, "We need to get away from here so you won't be able to see this." Like he's being sort of nice so she won't see his brother get beat up, but in reality this dude is taking her off to get ripped apart by vicious dogs. Now, Gurish doesn't know this happens, so he basically just lives his life as basically, like a refugee is pretty much how they're living, but there's no kindness putting towards them at all. Now he finds out years later after he takes over his father's clinic, because his father was a doctor, so this is the reason why Gurish has this kind of medical expertise. But we also know he was already very intelligent for a young man anyways. Well, he finds out that there is a group of people called the Eldian Restorationists. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, not entirely sure. But this, group of people, they're trying to rescue their, people from a place called Paradise. It is where the Eldian king, ran off to and created the 3 walls that Eren and everybody else lives in at this very moment. So basically that place was created to keep away all the other, Marlians from trying to attack them. So that's how that being made in the first place. And also the wall is made by Titans that were some of the original, Titans that got changed, that were Titan shifters. So that's what all those Titans in the wall are. So they could all be actually alive. We seen when the wall was broken apart that you could see some of them with their eyes open, but we weren't necessarily sure if they were alive or not. So they could be, because for some reason Titans can live for a long time, but I'm not sure if they're in their regular human form or if they're in their Titan form. So who knows, we might get information on that later on. But with this new information, we even find out more stuff. Like, let's go over to Yern. we already know Yerm is some kind of person. Like, she wasn't like part of any faction really, but she got brought up in some kind of cultist organization where they deemed her and said she had the blood of the king, I'm guessing of the Eldian king, and they believed her. And so she was pampered and everything else, which she did not have the blood at all. She was just a regular person who was born in Eldian and was put in that group. And it doesn't seem like she was with the Eldians where Grisha was living. She was in some different area. Well, at some point, the Marlians got the drop on their, whole organization that they got going on, the whole cultist organization. And they came in and took all those people, and they took Gurish and they took her to paradise, at where we seen Gurish. Well, where Gurn, they took Gurn to paradise. Where we see Gurish is in this episode, and she's staying over there, and they inject her with Titan serum, and they push her over the side. But we did not see that. We only figured that she was just already a Titan already, and there was some other way that she got changed that way. Well, come to find out, she got injected just like Gurish did, and she was, well, not Gurish's wife and his friends were, and got turned into a Titan. Now, we also find out that the, original Titans that we see in the first couple episodes were actually Gurish's friends in the Restoration Army. That is crazy to me. So all the beard Titans, some of the ones with the weird faces, the little short one were people of his group, of the sorry, I can't say that right for some reason. The Restoration Army. And so they're all just Titans. So they've been around for 60 years, and I bet you none of them is aged. And Yerm was in that same predicament. And we also see, which is even crazier, that the small Titan was Gurish's first wife. And we also find out that the little boy that Gurish and the one of the last royal bloodlines of the Eldian king, whose name is Diana Fritz, she and him had a kid together, and their kid was Zeke. So the Beast Titan is Gurish's son, who is also Aaron's half-brother. Interesting, right? That is crazy information that just got dropped on us right now, because when I seen that part, I was going crazy. Then other information we find out, it also makes, a lot more sense, considering we seen, what was it, in episode 54 or 55, that Zeke was talking about, I'll save you, talking to Aaron and saying this. And Aaron's like, what? Save me? You'll come back and save me? What are you talking about? And then we also see that Zeke is having some mental issues. And he's like, I'm nothing like my father. I'm nothing like my father. But in the same instance, he's talking about baseball. Because we've seen that they put Zeke through some kind of training. And he finds out about all the stuff that was going on to their people. And he kind of had mental breakdown as a child and kind of went crazy, as you see, because he had some kind of, it was darkness in him at that point. The hatred for his family and all the people that were around him that put him in that situation, except for his grandparents, which is why Gurish and everybody else were sent to paradise in the first place. And we see the same situation that happened to Zeke, where he got turned into a child warrior, is the same thing that happened to Annie, same thing that happened to Bart, the same thing that happened to Rainer. They all were put in that situation, and we see how it took a toll on Rainer for the most part. That he didn't want to do all that killing, so he developed an alternate, personality to cope with all the stuff that was happening. And he goes in and out. If you guys ever seen or read a comic called Moon Knight, where you have multiple personalities, or even watch Doom Patrol and see Crazy Jane, it's the same kind of concept where they have different personalities. Sometimes they have different memories, and they don't always coincide or remember the same thing, and they can flip back and forth at any instance without the original personality having control of that body. So interesting concept that's going on with Rainer. He's kind of having mental breakdowns. But anyway, moving back to the episode, we also find out that the Titans got in contact. It seems that they were, I don't know how to explain this very well, but it was one of the original descendants of the Eldian king came in contact with uh, a titan, or it looked more of a monster demon because titans don't really have horns. So I'm guessing this was some kind of demon monstrosity that was just roamed their lands. It was some kind of fairy tale to them, and they kind of made contact, and that's how she got the power. And we come to find out that you can actually take some of the Titan spinal fluid, and that's how you change people into Titans. And we already know if they eat a Titan shift, they can turn back to normal. So that's very interesting. So just a little bit of time, a little bit of spine fluid can change people back and forth between Titans and regular people. And it also is interesting that within the episode, we actually seen that the fat, bastard that killed Grisha's little sister, that he was talking about, I'm going to turn this last guy into a 3 or 4 meter Titan so you can fight him. How do you know that? So they must have labeled or something, how they didn't just take it. So they must have labeled each and every, Titan that they got spinal fluid from and brought them up and like, hey, this is what happened. And also something else that makes it interesting, how do the scouts inside the wall know about the nape of the neck? Like, who told them that? Because I know they didn't just, because there were normal people, so I know none of them just beforehand, before Levi and Erwin and all that stuff, when they were fighting them, they didn't just find it out. Someone must have gave them that information, and maybe it was the owl. Also, something we got to talk about, the owl. The owl seems to be the head of the organization of the Eldians that was trying to, save the people from paradise. Which is pretty weird because his name is Aaron as well. Which I'm pretty sure that's why Aaron, the main character series, has that name, because Grisha named him after him. Okay. Now, with all this information, I want to go back to the Smile Titan because there's some interesting information that was said right there. So we seen how before she got turned into the Smile Titan, that she says, no matter what form I'm in, I'm going to come find you. And as we seen within the first episode of Attack on Titan, that she came to their house. And I'm not sure if that was off instinct or she heard information, but she was at the house where Grisha was living. So she came to find him, but she killed the first wife. Then she found Aaron again, maybe getting some kind of vibe from him or instinct that he reminded him of her husband, because we seen girls back in the day kind of had some kind of personality of Aaron, and she finds him when Bart and Rainer try to kidnap Aaron in season 2 in the forest, wasteland area. So they find him again. Isn't that crazy that she stated that before she got turned into Titan and it actually came true? And then all these Titans are just people who were part of Grisha's family. Well, pretty much his brothers in arms beforehand. It's very interesting information. I really want to know what's going to go on between Aaron and Zeke as the episodes go on. I really need to read the manga, but I really don't want to because me not reading the manga gave me more of an experience with these episodes. But anyway, guys, this is the end of my video. So like the video if you like the video. Comment down below if you have anything you want to say. And subscribe to me, ya boy, AMG. And remember, anime, manga, gaming is all that. And I'm out, people. Peace.
For 30 minutes, don't touch that dial. Don't interrupt right now. Tell them I'ma fall back, cause another all that coming up right now.